malleable. Every day is very different. Don't be married to a lesson plan, because the reality is that even when you have a group that a lesson plan goes wonderfully with, you can get the next class period and the lesson plan go completely differently just based off of just the cohort of those particular kiddos. So being able to be malleable, being able to change in a moment's notice. I know teachers are one of the career paths that very much has to rethink and change and plan, even in the midst of a moment. So knowing that every day is absolutely different, and that's okay. You can have your absolute best days, and you could have a day that you might struggle, or you might feel, especially if, to my point, I think the number one thing is being someone of empathy. You're going to feel those days that are a little bit more difficult than others, and that's okay.
Breathe. And just know, like, it's okay to not be okay. Know that some days are just going to feel like the worst, but they'll get better, that kids are always going to be kids, no matter where you go. Kids will always be kids, and that you just got to meet them where they are, and talk to them. They're people. Like, half the time they'll tell you more than adults will. So just ask them. And if they don't tell you, then, try to get the parents involved or whatever the case may be. But I generally try to deal more on a level with my students, because I think that builds the relationship. So be there with them. Don't always just circumvent them. They are their own little people. So yeah, and breathe.
Be adaptive. Nothing is going to go the way you want it to, at least at some point. Some things will, and that'll feel amazing and fantastic. But be adaptable. Take care of yourself first. Take care of the kids second, and everything else worry about as it comes. As long as you do right by yourself and you're in a good space to help the students that you work with, and they are your focus after you, I think that's a great start. As a first-year teacher, you're going to have days where it just all goes wrong. Everything. No matter what you think in the moment, you could have planned a lesson and you spent hours and hours and hours and hours putting this one thing together, which in general would also not recommend. Right? It's okay to think through, and you'll get better at that as you go. You learn the things that you can kind of move through quickly and the things that require more attention, because there will be things that do require more attention. But even that hard-pressed lesson you spent hours working on is going to fall apart at some point, and it's okay. And you got to let it go. You got to come back the next day, maybe have a conversation with the kids if you need to, right? Identify your shortcomings in that moment, help them reflect on the things that they need to do better, and you move forward. One thing I will say too that's a bit small, but most people don't think of is, behavior things, education things, planning lessons, but grading and organization. Grading is not the most fun thing in the world, at least for me. I don't love grading, but really kind of setting time aside to be very thoughtful about it, like set like a time limit on how long you're going to grade, or even like grade each given assignment and like what you're specifically looking for. Because, I've had years where I've had 130 plus students grading labs. You can get bogged down, you can drown. So some kind of organization system, make your life a little bit easier there, will definitely pay out a lot too.
Patience. It's not about you. Remove yourself from the frame. It's about the kids. You have to come down to their level. If you're teaching middle school, you have to come down to their level, which could be silliness, could be goofiness. You have to be that. You have to be with them on that same level. You have to get off their high horse and just be, I think it's like most teachers stress. Take it one time at a time, just step by step. Things change so fast. You have a perfect lesson. You have a good lesson plan that you're going to deliver, but yeah, somebody will start giggling, and then there goes the lesson plan.
I would say yes to a lot of things. So say yes if you're invited somewhere, you're invited to collaborate, you're invited to attend a meeting, you're invited. Say yes, because you don't know what you might otherwise miss. I think professional development and professional development outside of your district is really important, because I think that gives you access to other resources, institutions, people, other teachers, and I think that's incredibly important. And then I would say find one hobby that is outside of school that really helps you either relax or just gives you a different path to channel and gives you a little bit of space away that is calming for you, and to be able to we can never, I don't think teachers ever compartmentalize and say, I'll leave school at school. We're always thinking about students. We're always thinking about what's coming up. But I think something that will help new teachers, or any teacher, to be honest, just take a step back and give them a little bit of space for themselves is really important. And especially new teachers who feel like there's a lot to take on and a lot to do, and there's always something. A lot of teachers, new teachers, don't always think of, there's always something. So like taking that step back for yourself, it's okay, it'll be there, and let's pick up and go from there. But professional development, time for self, and say yes.
Just that the first year is hard. It's hard, and there's no way around it. But it is so rewarding, and I think obviously that's why people stay in education, because even though the trials, tribulations, the ups and downs, and there'll be a lot of them, but the ups are so good. When you reach a student and you feel that connection with the student and they really just like get something, it's a really magical feeling. And I think that's, what we all strive for.